So, just wanted to give you a little update on the Dodge. I'm taking her out for a little drive at the moment down this dirt road here. I've done a lot of things to it since the last time I uploaded a video, which was probably about, I'm gonna say about 3 months ago. And excuse the shakiness, I have a phone holder, so it's gonna be pretty shaky because it's not, it's not tethered. But I've done a lot of things. I actually bought 2 new tires for the back, and I got new headlights installed. I got I got a whole LED setup now. I had let's see, I put some new lights on the back for the reverse, for the reverse lights, because the polarity didn't work, or the polarity was reversed. So I'll be showing y'all that. It's going to be a little bit of a long video. I did some exhaust work to it, obviously. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but did some exhaust work to it, and put a heavier duty switch on my lights for the, all my lights that I got, at least for the front. So I'm just taking her out for a drive at the moment, just to kind of show you how it is. Like, oh shit, sorry about that, had to readjust and everything. Just kind of showing you how it is. The tires that I bought are actually a lot better than the tires that I had on there. The ones that I had on there were BF Goodrich, and the ones that I got are Dick Chepic's. And they've got more aggressive tread. They're the same size, but they're also small. Like they're not as wide as the BF Goodrich, which I like the way that the Dick Chepic's look. They look a lot better. They're more, they're more streamlined. They're better at gripping. They're better at a lot of things. And no, I'm not gonna go over this hill, even though I really want to, but don't have 4-wheel drive, so not a smart choice. And that scraping is the plastic, my fender well, on the right front side, and I'm gonna remove that at some point, or I'll just leave it until it gets scraped down. But so I got new tires on it. I got a little bit of, because there was a bunch of wiring mess down in, down where I had all my shit. I cleaned that up. I've done a lot of work to it. I took the silencer ring out of the turbo, and I know, a lot of people say, well, it's bad for the turbo, and it doesn't give you any extra horsepower. And yes, I know that, and I know, I know all about that, and I decided, well, it sounds a hell of a lot better without it, especially because of the exhaust work that I did to it. You can actually hear the turbo now, whereas before you couldn't really, hear it all that well. I put some, well, I don't know if I had these in my previous video, but I put some blind spot mirrors on my side view mirrors, and cleaned up, like I said, cleaned up a bunch of wiring. I ended up putting on my lights and stuff for all the lights in the front. I ended up putting those through a relay and putting those through an inline fuse, because the problem that I was having was the fact that because I have a CB radio and I have an amp, what they call a chicken choker. I got a 200 watt chicken choker, and because the radio frequencies were getting in the way of it was making the lights turn on and off, go with the frequency, and so I had to get that fixed because I was tired of my lights coming on all the time whenever I would key up. So I put all that through a relay, and that seems to have fixed the problem. Yes. Anyway, so I put all that through a relay, and that seems to have fixed the problem. And so now everything's running, pretty much where I want it to. It is extremely cold outside, so I will probably shiver like a motherfucker. But gotta do it for the views, right? So, and I'll get out and kind of show you what all's been done to it, and how I did it and whatnot. So let me get y'all back oriented correctly. Oh Jesus. And that's another problem that I've been having is I had this transmission rebuilt about, I don't know, I want to say about probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and it's in park, but it's still rolling backwards, which means park is not catching like it's supposed to. So I have to be kind of forceful with it to let it catch. And I got to take it back to the guy that I bought it from, or that I had to have it overhauled. So I got to take it back to him and get him to fix it, but I just haven't done that yet. But so we'll start on the inside since I don't want to get out and freeze my ass off yet. I cleaned up all this wiring. I know it's still kind of messy, but it's a lot better than what it was. This is my extension for this, which runs basically all of my shit, and apparently that wasn't plugged in. But I've got my charger for my phone, I've got my CB, I've got my radar detector, which is up there and it's not on because it's annoying as fuck. And then I've got one of those little amber and white, caution light things, whatever you want to call it. I got one of those. It's magnetic, and it's on top of the roof. This is these two red wires are for my chicken choker. I couldn't really figure out a better way to kind of hide this, but basically I've got it running from under the firewall, and it goes behind this plastic piece, runs up over right there, runs down, and then comes down to the amp. And then that's going to the positive side on my battery, and this one down there is actually running into my glove box, and I've got it attached to a metal piece as a ground in behind the glove box. And that seems to have worked pretty well. And a lot of people will say, well, you got to go through your fuse box, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to blow my fucking truck up. So before, I had my CB hanging right there, but that thing broke and I didn't feel like putting it back together, so I just took a little metal piece from one of those things that the sunglass holders. I took that off and bent that straight and just hung that in there, and I'm hanging it on the crack in this plastic piece, and it seems to work all right. That's the wire for the radar detector, and that is for the aux, which is a tape deck. That's basically all I've really done on the inside, aside from putting in this heavier duty switch. And the reason why I like these heavier duty switches is because they're heavier, like there's more feedback on it when you push up, so it's not as easy to bump it, because that was a problem, is, you know, whenever I would, you know, move my feet around or whatever, I would bump these switches, and they were really easy to come on. So with these, there's a lot more, you know, there's a lot more play that you have to, you know, do to actually get those to work. So that's why I went with a little heavier duty switch, and because, you know, it's heavier duty, it can handle more. Those, of course, are my wires for my reverse alarm, which is right there. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I've done to the inside. I haven't really done anything else, other than, you know, cleaning up those wires, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna shut the truck off for now because it's loud and it's annoying. Turbo. Okay, so I got those new tires on the back. They're the same size and everything. They're a little bit thinner than the front tires. You can see the difference in the width of the tire, and in all honesty, these look much better. They're the same size, but they look much smaller than these. And these are fucking worn out. I mean, the tread's basically gone on them. I just haven't had the money to get the front two yet. And apparently, well, I know my radiator's leaking, but I gotta get that fixed too. So eventually I'm gonna get those same, well, I got two other tires that I'm gonna put up there. Like I said, you can't really tell a difference when the lights, but I did actually put these, like a good boy, put these through a relay in the front, and those are the headlights. I got clear headlight housings, and they are much better. I did actually put the LEDs through a relay, which is down there. And there's the inline fuse, and there's all my wiring mess. So all of these LEDs, those three, and then that one up there in the grill, runs through that relay right there. And that was a spare relay that I had for it was the trailer relay, which was right there. And I just took that out because I don't pull trailers very often. So that's that. And I've got that running straight to the battery. I have to replace the throttle position sensor, which is right behind there. You unscrew all that shit and it just pops out, and it's easy to put back into place. But I will do that later because I don't have money at the moment. I did finally, because the problem that I was having with this is it was flapping all over the place. So I threw some JB Weld on the screw right there, and I threw it down here on this bottom side, on this lip. I know you can't see that because the exposure is a little messed up, but I put JB Weld from right there all the way to right there to attach that to this metal frame here, and that has kept it from, you know, wobbling every time I shut it. There we go, it's a little better. So, and I put a zip tie there because that was still flapping. So I did that, and that has held up pretty well. So now when I shut it, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't flap. The LED headlight housings I bought, well, I've got LEDs in there now, but the clear headlight housings I bought off of eBay for like, I want to say it was like $120 or so. The only thing that I don't like about these specific housings is on the stocks, they have that same reflective plastic on the blinkers, and with these they don't. They just have clear or just black plastic. So The problem that I ran into was, why is that loose? I don't think that should be like that. Anyway, the problem that I'm running into is that the blinker bulbs are not as bright as I would like for them to be. They're not as bright as, you know, they're legal, but they're not, you can barely see them. And so the whole setup came with front headlight housings. It came with tail light housings, which are LED all the way around, reverse light, even though I don't have anything in there because they don't work. These do brake, turn signal, and hazard, so you don't have to have a separate, you know, bulb for a turn signal or anything like that. They are always on when you turn your marker lights on, or your parking lights, which, it's all right. So I've got that on both sides, and then up top I've got an LED brake light up there, and they're all clear all the way around. So that is what I really like about it, is those headlight housings, and they make a tremendous difference. And the third thing that I did was I put 2 more of those cube lights that you saw up top down here, and this one's a little loose and I have to tighten it up, but these are wired to my reverse alarm switch, which again is wired to the battery, so that whenever I back up I can actually see what's behind me. And surprisingly, these little cubes are very bright. They are spot, but I've got them angled in just the right way to where I can see, like, they go out to right around there somewhere, so I can see in my rear view mirror, in my side views, you know, where I want them to be. So that is definitely something that was worth the investment, was that. And these 2 were only like $30 from Walmart. They're very inexpensive, and they are definitely, and it's getting cold, that's why I'm shaking, but they are definitely something that even if I didn't have reverse light, even if I did have reverse lights, I would probably still do that anyway, because they are very, very nice. And the cool thing is I didn't have to drill any holes. There are 2 bolts. Well, there's more than 2. Well, no, I guess there are 2. There's 2 bolts. There's one right there, and then there's that one, which all I did was just unscrew the bolt and make the bracket a little bigger, and just put those right where the bracket goes, or put the screws right where they were, and that's that, and it's perfect. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, the exhaust. So that is not my exhaust, by the way. That is a different exhaust, which I'm gonna scrap. But I have 4 feet of exhaust now. So what I did, and I will try to get under here and show you, but what I did is I basically took out, I took out all of the muffler, which was both of the mufflers, and, you know, the tip and all that shit. And I just ran the exhaust pipe all the way to right there. And it sounds so much better. And normally the exhaust runs all the way back to back there. So I tore that out and just have been running with this ever since. And, you know, I know y'all are gonna say, oh, the diesel mileage is shit. And I know it is, but, you know, it sounds fucking amazing. And I really do love it. It's got a good growl, it's got a good rattle, and the turbo, man, you can hear that turbo from half a mile away, and it's awesome. So, and man, I love it to death. It is awesome. So, and UPS just pulled up. So, that's the new transmission that was rebuilt. and it's fucking up, so I have to take it in and get it fixed again. But yeah, the exhaust sounds amazing. And that's pretty much, hello. Oh, that's pretty much all there is to it. I haven't really done anything else to it. What's going on, brother? Yeah, just throw it on the front porch. That's all right. Appreciate it. That's really all I've done to it. And it's been you know, it's been pretty nice. Oh, the LEDs. You too, bro. It's gonna be really hard to see these in the daytime, because, you know, it's daytime. But UPS. So, it's got a side marker light right there, which I don't really know why that's there. I know why it's there, but it serves no purpose. Those are always on both sides. Obviously, that's only on when, you know, you're braking. These are extremely bright. Even you know, just as running lights, they are extremely bright. The LEDs that I got, I also bought off of eBay. They were, I want to say, like $25 or so. Those are my brights. It's got four LEDs, and 2 of them are used for regular, you know, just not brights, and then 2 of them are used for brights. And I run around, you know, with those on, and nobody knows because I never turn them off. So they're really nice. They're very bright. They are definitely something that I would invest in if you have a second gen like I do. If you've got those old nasty worn out headlights, and as you can see, like I said, you know, the turn signal and marker lights are not very bright. I mean, you know, compared to the brightness of this headlight, you know, they're not that bright. Now, they are legal, and I haven't gotten pulled over for them yet, but they're not as, it's because of the plastic. I have no problem with the bulb because I've used these bulbs before. When I did LEDs in the back, when I did that same bulb just in red in the back, and it was great. But with this specific setup, with the way that they didn't coat that in that reflective plastic like they did in this, it's not bright, unfortunately. So those LEDs are definitely something that I would invest in. That was the biggest thing that I wanted to get done, was the LED setup all the way around, because at night I could not see. And even with stock bulbs, I mean, you know, the 9004s, the stock bulbs for this are you know, they're a hell of a difference than just with these housings anyway. They are much better than those stock housings. Now, you know, yeah, you know, I'm sure you could, you know, go online and buy the same headlight housings, you know, the stocks or the OEMs for like $50 or whatever, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something that kind of made it stood out a little bit. So that's what I did, and man, it does make a world of difference. You can't see it right now, but I will do a nighttime video to show a little better how it looks, and I won't be able to compare it, obviously, because I'm not going to take it all apart, and you know, but I'm sure, you know, by now most of you know what the second gen stock OEM headlight housing Dodges, you know, what those headlights look like. But and I will also show my LED setup there too as well, because whew, you can see the word of God with those things. And I will also show the reverse lights as well. And that's pretty much as far as I've gotten with it. I haven't really done anything else to it other than, like I said, the exhaust work, and the headlights, the tires, the wiring for the relay for the lights, the cleaning up the wiring on the inside, and I mean, that's pretty much all I've done to it. So with that said, as always, if y'all have any questions about, you know, this truck, or, you know, the specs on it or whatever, y'all can always post it in the comments, and I will respond to it as quick as I can. And with that, I will leave you with the wonderful startup sound of a 99 Dodge Ram 2500 24 valve Cummins turbo diesel. Yes, sir.